one of the highlights was a multi-jurisdictional fraud series where suspects were taking high-priced vehicles they were getting through fraudulent bank drafts. And the investigation, of course, leads well outside the area, but affects the people in the area. A search warrant was conducted in Thorsby. Multiple stolen vehicles and trailers were seized. About $150,000 of the property were taken back, and charges were resulted. Our local GIS section assisted the general duty members of the area with localized bank fraud card use, which helped out the GD members quite a bit. And they also assisted the ICE team, or Southern Alberta ICE team, which is the child exploitation unit, that we're lucky enough to have overarching looking after us. Multiple search warrants within the area targeting child pornography. So our GIS section helped out significantly with it, so it didn't fall on the general duty members' back, but a lot of the heavy lifting was done out of the big units in Calgary on that one. They continue to have a very good working relationship with their counterparts in Sylvan and Innisfail. Not to say we don't in Red Deer, but it's just such a big thing there. We really do a good job of, with the surrounding areas, consulting one another and working as a team. With the additional member, talking to Dallas, the corporal for the GIS team, they're planning on doing maybe a slight shift with the additional member to a little more uniform, in your face to the prolific offenders. It's good to have a perception both for the public of safety, but it's also nice to have a perception of the prolific offenders that they're not covertly being watched and going to be caught. They're overtly being watched and they should go somewhere else. So that is a plan on the table for the next quarter and into the later part of the year, resourcing being possible. Community policing visibility, that's the overarching topic, such as bringing Constable Gillis out here tonight, participating in the formal meetings that are the police committee, the police advisory committee, all of those ones, and also the more informal ones that we try to do a little bit more of. Traffic safety, one of the other priorities. If you've heard the name Constable Prue, I know I've brought it up in several informal information sharing. Constable Prue is just a general duty member within one of the watches, and he manages to locate and has a passion for locating impaired drivers and getting them off the road. And last year, he won another award for the province for just getting the amount that he does. And I can't say enough about his endeavor to it, which doesn't take away from his GD call response, which is a good reminder that we are a general duty police detachment under my umbrella, even though there's a highway patrol that works near us and out of the office. The GD members are just general duty. Any of the traffic stuff is focused on traffic safety that they happen to see in between calls. There's not a lot of setup for purposeful just ticket writing because they're going call to call. But that said, we're able to do 32 investigations just this past quarter on impaired driving, responded to 399 motor vehicle collisions, and issued 69 violation tickets. Considering the size of the detachment and how busy the members are, that was really good. The fourth priority that I added in there, just with my handwriting, is the mental health capacity. It's more of a unit quality assurance than it is a priority. But this past May, I brought in a external psychologist to do an in-house training. It doesn't cost anything. It was in our detachment. Members were able to come in. If we could reschedule them, we would. And it was all about his resiliency strategies in dealing with the pressures. That wasn't simply a course given online or an RCMP document. It was an actual psychologist from the community. The trickle down of that should be members being able to recognize a little bit more in their operational duties when dealing with the public. And hopefully that trickles down years from now that we have less members that are struggling with anything. A little snapshot here of current human resource operations on the municipal side only. It shows there's 10 established positions with 9 working. That one in between is the difference between Constable Hamilton. If you're aware of him, he was selected to be our full-time general investigation section member for the new position. So he is slated to go into that position in September. That will create the hard vacancy on the GD side, or it currently has the hard vacancy on the GIS side, depending how you look at it and what date you're looking at it. That would then have to be staffed. But there's really only the one hard vacancy on the municipal side. Total detachment, if I can touch on that right now. Our detachment sits at 29 regular members. That would include all the provincial and all the provincial and municipal combined together in the post model. We survived the G7 and the fire relief actually very well, considering the mandate to provide some help here and there. There's one member that was injured on duty. We're waiting for MRIs on him to see whether a small hairline fracture is healing the way it's supposed to be. He is coming into work every day. He's light duties, but it takes away from operational calls. That's one of the members. We have one that's a gradual return to work, coming in every day. He just needs to get things up to snuff as far as some of his qualifications and certifications. It is coming along. We have one that is considered off-duty sick with an unknown timeline as of today. And then the one hard vacancy I talked about on the municipal side. The chart looks like we have more what I would call hard vacancies. However, staffing has already identified members that are able and going to be coming here from other areas, just like Tyler did. The only holdup is getting replacements for them. So on paper, there are people named in every single position that we have. It's not that they're vacant and just we don't have a name or can't hire someone. We actually have people. They just aren't here yet. This next document was what's within the annual performance plan, not in the multi-year financial plan. It just shows a basic breakdown of what fiscally it is to date, what the overall plan is, and then the shared pooled costs, which of course is only 70% of the total cost. The feds pick up the other 30% on any of that shared costs. The most recent current July stats I brought in today because they were the most recent. If you look at my monthly stats that I do send out through email, most months we will see total green across the board, which is some sort of decrease. Every once in a while, you're going to get an anomaly. And in July, we saw a 23% increase. And that's just comparing that period from the exact same period the year before. 23% increase of total persons crimes. I dug into that a little bit more to see if there was something we were missing. Essentially, it's 20 more calls over the entire time period, of which 14 are just basic assaults. Don't belittle that they're basic assaults, but they're not major files per se. It's just what's reported in. So 54 versus 40 in the exact same time period is a 35% increase, but it's not a massive amount when you look at the pure numbers. And then further, we had 3 sexual assaults reported in that time period versus just 1 in the exact same time period a year before. That alone is a 200% increase. So that's your snapshot of 1 month. And I did look at the other, and it was odd. The other areas similar to us in the exact same time period, like a Sylvan and Innisfail, they both saw a little blip in persons crimes. Don't know if it just happens to be the time of year or where, which is why I included the main page from our crime severity index, which tracks the overall crime severity of this detachment area over the course of years, not just blips in the radar. And I don't know if I can highlight anything here. This little chart here is going back 10 years. And other than a little blip there around COVID, it's a steady downward. if you look at the whole crime severity index package, it breaks down how they come up with weighteds on things. So obviously a lot of nuisance calls don't get weighted very high, but actual severe crimes do get weighted high. Despite what the perception might be with media and social media, the reality is it's much safer now and has less severe crimes than literally since we've started tracking this. And that is across the board. That's not just Blackfalds. When we look at the overall Canadian and very specifically the province and the region, it is pretty much similar. That's a little detail on the crime severity index that I won't get into if you wanted to read specifically what it means. Along with our community engagement, if it was turned around the right way, we in the last quarter specifically, we participated as a detachment in the Smile Cookie event at Tim Hortons, the McDonald's Happy Day in May for McDonald's, and then also in May the Touch a Truck. That's us at the Smile Cookie Day, or at the McDonald's one. And there I am with your worship, getting some cookies ready for Tim Hortons.
You're all there. He was much better at the decorating than I was, I can tell you that.
I'll touch very quickly that I can on any sort of financial plan looking forward. The plan is at best a guesswork of where we think costs might be and not an agreement down to the penny of what it's going to be. There is some guesswork here at future costs. Some of the drivers and the costs going up as everything seems to go up seems to be a catch up of inflation. Inflation's now under control, but all the trickle down of it in recent past. A big one is vehicle costs. Maintenance, repairs, replacements, those things are through the roof. And you can't have someone go to a call without a vehicle of some kind, no matter what we do. Technology changes that are mandated that we can't get around. The body-worn camera was both a federal mandate, but also the provincial government mandated it. And really, from common sense point of view, you can't be a police force, especially in this area without body-worn cameras. That's a necessity, but there's no way of getting around the price on it. Most of those types of costs are completely out of my hands when it comes to a detachment of this size. I consider myself more of a coach on a hockey team, not the general manager and not the owner of the team. I'm at best got the players on the bench, and I can do a little bit more power play and a little bit more defense, and I can decide what players to put out there. But that might be the extent of it. I can't pick what vehicles we're going to buy, and I can't pick what kind of pistols we're going to get in the near future. Brent and I, Sergeant Dewick, the ops NCO, which you know, we sit down daily and nitpick over the little things we can. We try tweaking the schedule. We look at the best possible coverage for the least amount of overtime and maximizing public safety balanced with financial responsibilities into the public. Brent does an amazing job getting the most efficiency out of that detachment, and I'll give him massive kudos. We're creative as possible in creating more efficiencies, even down to like training. We have a course coming in later in this month that I was able to make a deal with training to bring the trainer to us rather than sending 7 members up individually to get the training in Leduc. It's a pain to try and create the schedule to have all those people available at once, but the payout on that one for convenience and cost is massive. So those little things we can affect, and we're trying along the way. Those are all the slides I have for a presentation and the presentation I've prepared. But if you have any specific questions that I can either answer directly or try to follow up when I can.
Councillor Schwab.
I'm just wondering, there's been a lot of people's bikes getting stolen in the community over the last little while. Are people actually reporting it or just posting it on Facebook? Because I feel like they should be reporting it so that everybody in the area has an idea where this is coming from, so people can start locking up their bikes or doing something to mitigate more of their kids' bikes being stolen.
If you're asking my opinion, I would guess there's underreporting. And I know when I was working general duty and people would tell me about things and they would say I didn't report it, I said, if people don't report things, it's true there might be nothing we can do. But there's somebody in Ottawa looking at a map saying, see, there's no crime on this block. And even if you report something that we can't do anything about, and we're going to be super polite and say, that is unfortunate, you don't have a serial number, there's no suspects, and there's no evidence, and there's nothing more I can do about it right now, nor do we have the time to. There is a file and it's created, and that will show up on a blip on the radar. And then if 20 people do that, it becomes a thing that GI now might be looking at. So I can do my best to add the education piece to it through some of the more grassroots meetings I go to and updates to encourage people to report. Even don't change your expectations, but increase the reporting. Yeah, and I can do my part on that.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Welcome.
I just had a brief question just for clarification on those July stats where we saw that increase. Are those just files being created, or are those resulting in charges?
No, those are files being created, and it's possible that they get changed as the file develops. That's reporting. So it could be reported as a robbery, and through investigations, this was a mistake, and the wallet was actually located in the change room. But now it's not. And that takes a while for that to trickle down. The flip side is it could be the opposite. Someone could report they're missing something and it turns out to be a theft. So what that snapshot is just what's reported, and it's what is on the initial call intake and what it was scored as at the time.
And so it's possible that something like this could be one offender, that's a prolific offender.
Yeah,
in the
this
area
is not looking into actual
Yeah.
trends in any charges or within the detachment. It's just looking at what the calls were scored as at the time.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Other questions or comments? Always happy to get your reports. It's probably one of the things that, as Councillor Svab pointed out, that we see the most, or amongst the most, on social media as concerns about particular crimes and activity that and as you pointed out is unfortunately underreported in actuality. So it's important that we have this conversation and feedback. So
Absolutely.
Looking forward to seeing you out and about. Heard you get dunked a whole lot at the dance, a lot more than me, which I'm happy about. But thank you for participating in that for our community as well.
Very welcome, Your Worship.
No other questions. We'll let you carry on. We know you're a busy man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving on to business items. Item 6.1, request for decision on bylaw 1336.25 being the land use bylaw housekeeping amendments.
Good evening, Mayor Hoover, members of council. As you know, land use bylaws do provide the blueprint for all development that occurs within the town's jurisdiction. So it's important that it's up to date, provides clear development requirements, and reflects the planning and development needs of our community. The Planning and Development Department constantly monitors the effectiveness of our land use bylaw to ensure that it continues to support our community's vision and is responsive to trends in land use planning, development pressures, and the needs and desires of our residents and business owners. The department maintains a comprehensive list of amendments, and when time permits, an amending bylaws prepared and brought forward for council's consideration. The amending bylaw before council captures the more minor amendments noted over the years that do not require extensive research or public consultation outside of the public hearing process. We call them housekeeping amendments. There is a lot of amendments before you, and we've captured the themes here, which I will go through. The first theme of amendments is under bylaw 1336.25 proposes to eliminate the distinction between modular homes and detached dwellings. The land use bylaw currently treats modular homes as a different use in detached dwellings and lists them as discretionary uses in the applicable land use districts. Conversely, detached dwellings are a permitted use. The only difference in our land use bylaw definition between these uses, being modular home and detached dwelling, is that a modular home is built off-site and a detached dwelling is built on-site. With the current launch of the federal government's Build Canada Homes, which is designed to accelerate the construction of affordable housing, it is anticipated to make a shift towards more prefabricated modular homes. By removing the distinction between the two uses, it will put the town in a better position to accommodate this shift. Bylaw amendment numbers 2.1 to 2.3, 2.8, 2.17, 2.19, and 2.21 are all related to removing the distinction between modular homes and detached dwellings. With respect to land use bylaw clarity, consistency, and functionality theme of amendments, Amendment 2.4 proposes to remove an inconsistency in the land use bylaw under moving storage pod definition. The definition limits the moving pods to residential uses for a maximum of 7 days. However, the associated regulations allow them to be located for a maximum of 14 days, and it doesn't restrict them just to residential districts. Amendment 2.4 proposes to remove the regulations from the definition, so the associated regulations in section 4.12 are applicable as they are more flexible and reasonable in administration's opinion. Amendment 2.5 expands a setback requirement from an ATCO gas easement to also pertain to easements held by Fortis, Alberta. Amendment 2.6 proposes to clearly state that property zones residential multi-dwelling district R2 require 25% landscaping in the front yard except for multiple housing developments and mixed-use development uses. The multiple housing development and mixed-use development uses are proposed to still require the more robust landscaping standard, which is consistent with the way higher density R2 developments were previously regulated. Please refer to Amendment 2.7 for the amendment reflecting this change. This was identified as a needed amendment when the front parking pad amendments were brought forward to Council, and will clearly communicate that R2 properties that are eligible to apply for a front parking pad will require the 25% front yard landscaping to remain. Amendment 2.9 fixes a minimum required length error regarding the overall depth of a parking stall at a 90-degree angle. This was noted by our municipal engineer when reviewing a development permit application. Amendment 2.10 deletes specific reference to the Municipal Planning Commission and replaces it with the Development Authority. This is being done because the development officer is the approving authority for home-based businesses. However, they can bring any application to the MPC. If we specify the MPC in the land use bylaw, then they should be brought before the MPC. Amendment 2.12 corrects a small grammatical error. Amendments 2.24 to 2.26 proposes to clean up some confusing setbacks in the residential manufactured home park district, along with removing specific setbacks for larger models. The prescribed setback should not be specific to the side of manufactured home. Amendment 2.43 brings back a previously established front yard setback into the industrial light district that was missed in the 2022 land use bylaw. Amendment 2.46 proposes to include the first page of direct control district number 1, which was unintentionally omitted in the 2022 land use bylaw. Administration is proposing a new use in this DC1 district along with the DC2 district, which is including home-based business 1 as a permitted use. When administration brought forward the new DC district for the parcel adjacent to the Protective Services Building, there was a lot of positive feedback about including home-based business 1s into DCs in permitted uses. So, citing changes in the economy and more work from home opportunities. So it was determined this use should also be allowed in the other DC districts. Amendment 2.49 corrects a legal land description of a property governed by direct control district number 3. The next theme of amendments pertains to religious assemblies as a use. It was recently brought to administration's attention that religious assembly, which is defined as a building where people assemble for worship and related religious, charitable, and social activities that is maintained and controlled for public worship, has been significantly reduced in the land use districts currently allowed in our new land use bylaw. Amendment numbers 2.18, 2.20, 2.22, 2.23, 2.27, 2.28, 2.30, 2.32, 2.36, 2.38, and 2.40 all propose to reinstate the use back into the land use districts they were historically allowed, except for the direct control districts because they've been developed specific for certain developments. As for sign amendments, the 2022 land use bylaw simplified signage into one umbrella use category in all land use districts and lists them as discretionary uses. This has caused some unintentional challenges when processing applications for temporary signs and unnecessarily long process timelines for temporary and fascia signs. To address this, administration is proposing to split out temporary and fascia signs from the umbrella sign use and move them into the permitted use category in the higher density residential districts that have contemplated uses that are more likely to require temporary or fascia signs, such as apartments, and all commercial industrial districts and the public facility district. Amendments 2.29, 2.31, 2.33 to 2.35, 2.37, 2.39, 2.41, 2.42, 2.44, and 2.45 all capture that. Other sign-related amendments include a new definition for mural and an expansion of the approval mechanisms from the current requirement of council approval to also be considered by town policy or bylaw. An expansion of the way signs on public property may be authorized, and clarifying setback requirements for post signs. And lastly, amendments 2.50 and 2.51 propose to redistrict the recently created municipal reserve strip to encompass an existing trail on the east side of Blackfalds Crossing commercial development between the commercial area and Highway 2A from Commercial Highway District C2 to the Parks and Recreation District PR. The PR district is consistent with the way we treat trail links throughout town. The administration recommendation before council is that council consider the following two motions. The first being that council give second reading to bylaw 133625 land use bylaw housekeeping amendments as presented. And the second motion is that council give third reading to bylaw 1336.25 land use bylaw housekeeping amendments as presented. I welcome any questions.
Councillor Pill.
Thank you. Through the chair to Manager Tekel. Regarding the changes about the descriptions for modular homes to detached dwellings, does this mean that stick-built home building packages would also be allowed on residential single-family lots?
Through Mayor Hoover, that is correct.
Thank you.
Okay. I have no questions. Councillor Sands.
I have no questions or comments, but I am in favor. And I will move that council give second reading to bylaw 1336.25, land use bylaw housekeeping amendments as presented.
Thank you. Debate or discussion? All in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. Councillor Schwab. Oh, no, Deputy Mayor Coulter.
As faster. I'm prepared to move that council give third reading to bylaw 1336.25 land use bylaw housekeeping amendments as presented.
Debate or discussion? All in favor?
Thank you.
That is unanimous. Moving on to 6.2, being the request for decision on the Arena Ice Plant.
Thank you, Your Worship and Council. So I'll just kind of touch up a little bit on Simcoe's presentation, as well as add a few comments from ourselves here. So yeah, we're looking at replacing the 100-ton ice plant that's currently serving Arena 1 and is now nearing the end of its life cycle. The plant is currently running over 20 hours per day and struggles to maintain the ideal ice temperatures during peak usage times. The 2024 audit by Simcoe identified $646,000 in needed repairs and flagged major equipment nearing failure. So that is something that we would be doing regardless. The current situation, the Arena 2 50-ton ice plant was installed in 2021 and is in good condition. Arena 1's aging system poses operational safety and maintenance risks as it sits right now. Without action, we are looking at a reduction in ice quality and reliability. With our proposed solution that Simcoe is recommending, we are hoping to replace the 100-ton ice plant with a more modern system and installing a new 50-ton condenser that would support Arena 2. the current condenser supports both plants right now. And then, of course, updating code related to components, including piping, safety components, and controls. So benefits, of course, will be improved ice quality and reliability, redundancy between Arena 1 and 2 systems, future proofing for extended seasonal use if we decide to go with the 150-ton plant. And then, of course, a modern system for staff operations and energy efficiency. And included as well, we'll have 2 independent systems, which is a huge issue right now, and of course, address the safety concerns. So right now, we are proposing the $1.5 million be allocated towards this, with the funding source coming from our general capital reserve. And our lead time, as mentioned, I guess is now 7 months, and installation is roughly 1 to 2 months. So we're in that time period that if we want to get it in place for the 26-27 season, decision would have to be made sometime in the next month or so, month or two. So with that, we have the recommendations below, and if council has any questions.
Councillor Sands.
I'm just wondering, sorry, through the chair to administration, I'm not sure who would answer it, but if we have kind of an estimate of what our franchise fees might look like that we could add to that general capital reserve at the end of the year, do we have maybe kind of a guesstimate? Because it says we'll be left with 2.3 if we were to do this, and so I just want to see what we might
That
be
does,
adding to that.
sorry, that estimate does include what the franchise fee, the estimated franchise fees would be.
Okay,
Yeah, sorry, it wasn't broken out. They didn't provide me with the details,
okay,
but it does include what we expect to get from our franchise
okay,
fees. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's all I have right now.
Councillor Schwab.
I appreciate the report being provided. I'm just wondering, I know you weren't the director at the time, but did something similar happen to this when we were building the EVC? I don't remember. I remember certain parts of it, but not that part. And then I guess similarly in 2021, when we put the new ice plant in, was there anything done? Like some kind of a report?
So sorry, going back to the first question, something similar happened in,
Like, did we have some kind of a report done with the 2008
Oh.
ice plant? No.
No, we didn't.
And then when we put in the new one in 2021, was there anything ever done for reporting before it was replaced? Or did we just put in an ice plant?
No, there was just engineering that looked into what kind of a plant would operate that Arena 2.
Okay.
So that's all that they would have had. And then,
Yeah.
of course, they would have tested everything before operating. So
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Coulter.
Thank you for the report. I just have a question. When the report was given in the delegation earlier, they talked about 120 to a 150. So we are planning to put in a 150 to expand to a year-round ice usage?
So as of right now, we don't have any intention to be year-round, but that might be something to consider in the future, and we don't want to short ourselves in case that is something that wants to be considered in future years. That was the myth. That was the thought process behind that. Right now, a 120-ton would suffice for what we operate.
Good, thank you.
Councillor Bell.
Thank you. Through the chair to the director, that was a similar question to what I was going to ask. My question was more, should we remove what the expected tonnage of this ice plant should be from this motion until that engineering is finalized?
Sure, yeah.
Councillor Sands.
I just wanted to, just a comment. I think this is a good example but not a good time of year for this to be having to happen to us right now. I know how important it is to make sure that we're protecting our investment and, more importantly, our people, our user groups, and that type of thing. I think it's really it's an eye opener for people this time of year who are thinking on running to keep these things in the back of their mind, because this Eagle Builder Center seems to be something that we can't quite put a cap on yet, and it's very disappointing. I know we got with the ice plant, we also have, the roundabout that was being considered, that type of thing. We still haven't taken care of the Eagle Builder Center parking that is so painful for residents here that we really need to look at as well. But yeah, I think it's good that we're looking at this now. It's unfortunate that we have to make this hard decision right now, but I will hold myself accountable for it, as I know I want to make sure that our facility is protected, as well as our workers and our residents and user groups. So it's something we have to do now, and it is what it is. We have to do it, and yeah. Thank you.
Councillor Dennis.
There was talk about the efficiencies in the Eagle Builder Center, the windows and stuff and the heat and whatnot. Is there any plan to accommodate that? I'm surprised that was overlooked when that was built too.
Like curtains, for example, or
Well,
frosting over the windows or something like that.
something like it's not making the plant run efficient.
Yeah.
And it was only put in 4 years ago. Like, I don't understand why that was not looked at too.
Yeah, originally there were supposed to be curtains there, and I don't know what happened along the way, but they were removed from the project. But I think that is something that I've definitely heard a lot from our operators. It'd be nice to have curtains there, just to take away that heat source, right?
Thank you.
Councillor Sands.
Sorry. I was just wondering, are we, is there the option to look at different pricing with contractors, or are these our guys, and what's the scoop with that?
So the canoe program is they actually go out and do the procurement for municipalities, and we are part of that program. So they look for usually the best bang for your buck when it comes to procurement. So I think from our discussions is Simcoe is on the canoe list for arena plants. So that legwork has already been done. You can go and procure it on our own, but then we do run the risk of getting a higher price potentially from another company. So it's you can do one way or another.
Yeah. Do we know of a price that we paid for this audit offhand?
I don't know the price. That was
Okay.
It's around $5,000.
Okay.
yeah, I'm not sure yet.
Okay. Thank you.
So in terms of, I know looking back, you weren't the director at the time, but do we know, or do you know what capacity of unit chiller was considered and then removed as part of the value engineering at the time when it was built?
So when I talked with our architect today, he had mentioned that it was a 140 ton is what we were looking at initially. I'm not sure what happened along the way, that it was not there when the building was built, but we are now with our current 100 ton. That was our old arena plant. So
Yeah, I mean, we made that decision at the time. It may not have been a facility that was feasible if we didn't look at that value engineering. So I know that was necessary. Do we know the cost approximately of like the reduction in the cost that value engineering that out would have been?
And when I asked him that question as well, he said it was between 500 and 600,000 at the time, which I thought was really low, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I guess as a comment, what we did, I guess, by value engineering that is, and using this, we got 5 more years out of the current facility, and I guess considering that these things are, 20 years approximately of use, that's 25% more value out of the unit that we have. So there's some realized savings out of that, which is a benefit. But at the time, I guess it's like renovating a house and having a fridge in it that's still working and having to make that decision. Do we buy the new fridge now, or do we look at, try and get more years out of the appliance that we had? So it is something that we knew was inevitable at some point. Yeah. Siaj, did you have your light on for comment, or okay? Any other questions? Seeing none, we do have some recommendations in front of us. Deputy Mayor Coulter.
I move the council the council approves the replacement of the existing 100-ton ice plant in Arena 1 with a new ice plant at the estimated cost of 1.5 million to be funded through the general capital reserve. And I'm sorry, that was an amended.
Yeah, you're looking at removing the tonnage.
The
in it.
tonnage, yeah.
Which I think everybody understands that. Thank you. And then, of course, the first phase will be the engineering, which will come up with that, and we'll get a more accurate costing for that.
So do I add that into my amendment, tonnage to be determined from?
I think we're okay. I think everybody understands the motion will read without the 150 ton. It'll just read a new ice plant at an estimated cost of 1.5 million to be funded through the general capital reserves.
Now, yeah.
If that's what your intention was.
Yes.
Okay. Debate or discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you. Councillor Schwab.
I move that administration be directed to proceed with procurement and installation planning and to apply for all eligible grant funding to offset project costs.
Thank you. And obviously, we don't know grants at this point.
There are a couple. There's CFEP, and then there's the Municipal Climate Change Action. I forget what the last C means, but MCCAC.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Debate or discussion on that motion? All in favor? And that is unanimous as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 6.3, being the request for decision on Blackfalds RCMP multi-year financial plan.
Great. Thank you, Council. As you had heard previously from Sergeant Allen, we do have in front of you the Blackfalds multi-year RCMP multi-year financial plan. This is something that comes forward to Council every time around this time of the year. And we have brought it forward to Council so that Council could consider the allocation of the multi-year financial plan within our budget process. The multi-year financial plan provides valuable data, metrics, and forecasted resources anticipated to assist the RCMP in maintaining the goal of ensuring the safety and security of our citizens. Our detachment strength for urban enforcement is 10, and which we had that 10th position approved in the 2025 budget. In addition to cost sharing on these positions, we employ 2 municipal administrative support positions to augment the federal support staff at the detachment. The town of Blackfalds owns the RCMP detachment building and provides space to the RCMP provincial resources, which is over and above the 10. So I think Sergeant Allen had said that there's 29 in total. So that would be, I think, 19 rural members. 6 public service employees, 6 RCMP traffic employees, which includes 1 public service employee and 5 RCMP members, as well as 2 victim services positions. The multi-year plan includes the forecasting of future human resources, accommodation, equipment, and fleet needs. Costs have been estimated for current and future years as divisional pooled cost. As a community of less than 15,000 in population, costs are pooled together and divided over the full-time equivalent utilization in the respective police service. Over the past number of years, accommodation of facility space for the enforcement has been a topic of discussion. I think we've recently had a discussion on potential expansion this past spring. We have not heard anything recently on that, so that'll be something to monitor. The concern has been brought up on a number of fronts, as well as just us kind of, or the department kind of growing beyond that space that they currently have. Under financial implications, there will be some financial implications in the budget, both operational capital costs over the term identified in the plan. These costs will be taken into consideration in the town's annual and long-term budget cycles. So we do have 2 recommendations there for council's consideration. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Do you have any?
I suspect we'll have more questions during the budgeting process.
I'm sure you will.
Thank you. So we do have the 2 recommendations in front of us. Councillor Sands,
I'll move that council acknowledge support of the multi-year financial plan from April 1st, 2026 to March 31st, 2031 with an agreement in principle only and consideration as part of the municipal annual budget development process.
thank you. Debate or discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Unanimous. Councillor Pell.
Thank you. I move that council authorize the mayor's signature of the multi-year financial plan from April 21st, 2026 to March 31st, 2031, acknowledging the agreement in principle and effective collaboration in strategic planning for policing expenditures over the term identified in the plan.
Thank you. Debate or discussion? All in favor? And that is unanimous as well. Thank you. Moving on to item 6.4, request for decision for a proclamation for Alberta Development Officers Week.
Thank you, Mayor Hoover. The primary responsibility of a development officer is to review, process, and issue development permits pursuant to the requirements established by the Municipal Government Act, the Land Use Bylaw, statutory plans, and other relevant legislation. They're also responsible for the enforcement of development approvals and contraventions to the Land Use Bylaw. The work they do is key in the responsible growth and development of a municipality and ensuring that properties are developed in accordance with the rules in place. Each year, Town of Blackfalds Council has proclaimed the week of the Alberta Development Officers Association annual conference as Development Officers Week, and administration is hopeful that council will do the same this year. With that said, there is an administrative recommendation before you that council consider the following motion: that council proclaim September 23rd to 26th, 2025 as Alberta Development Officers Week in the Town of Blackfalds. I welcome any questions.
I see none. I think we're comfortable with this. Councillor Schwab.
I don't have any questions, but I just want to thank our development officer staff in our building for a great job. I know sometimes they can be a little tough at times, but at least you guys are managing to get it done. So I appreciate all you guys do, and I'm sure council will echo that. I move that council proclaim September 23rd to 26th, 2025 as Alberta Development Officers Week in the Town of Blackfalds.
Thank you. Debate or discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Moving on to 6.5, being the Blackfalds Transit Service On Demand contract extension.
Thank you, Your Worship. So we talked about this in regards to budget implications on the last standing committee meeting. So essentially, the Blackfalds Transit Service On Demand contract is due here at the end of August. So we actually reached out to the current supplier, Prairie Bus, as well as Prairie Bus Lines to basically ask if they could provide us an extension. This will allow us to get a little bit of time to talk about service level discussions with the new council, as well as there isn't very many other companies that would provide this type of service. So when we do go out for RFP, if council so wishes to approve this extension, more than likely we'll be working with these guys again. So for the next year, it would look similar to what the previous few years were, except there would be a 3% increase. So we're not expecting a huge change. Prairie Bus Lines has done an excellent job already for the services in the last 5 years since we brought forward with the Bolt 2.0. So that's the on-demand service with about 40 stops, 40 virtual stops in Blackfalds, and then another 2 stops in the county and another stop, or sorry, 2 stops in the city of Red Deer. So we've had the last 5 years to review the contract service levels, and their ability to operate and manage this service on behalf of the residents of Blackfalds is very well received. We substantiate that they've got the facilities, equipment, and the professional expertise to provide our local on-demand transit service needs for the future of the town. And they've worked very closely with us to ensure that the programs work well. And we've actually adjusted the programs, as you guys are all aware, over the last 5 years to make that a little bit more supported by our local ridership. So what we're recommending tonight is that council consider extending this contract by 1 year. This time period will not allow for service level, or this time period will allow for service level discussions with the new council. And it'll also provide an opportunity to explore partnership opportunities with regional neighbors. The City of Lacomb's recent planning documents highlight transportation as a key priority for their community, and I know it is for ours as well too. So we're looking at potentially going back and looking at maybe partnering with them again. The 2024 social needs assessment also emphasizes the requirement to explore public transportation. And really what we want to do is if we can't bring our residents to, or if we can't bring the services to our residents, we want to bring those residents to our services. So things like potentially expanding it to go to the hospital in Red Deer and other public facilities like that could definitely be on the horizon. There is some trending information there, key insights for contract extensions. I won't get into it, but overall the service is growing. And I guess with that too, we did talk about with the service provider, if we do extend it for a year, the possibility of needing another van or potentially a bus, depending on what the service levels are. So it's also a discussion we'll be talking about in the 2026 budget discussions here this year. So looking at, I think we scheduled a van in there for about 90 grand. So that'll be a discussion we'll have to go through as well too. So essentially, if we move forward with this recommendation tonight to extend it by 1 year, the current contract, they'll actually maintain that rate that we have right now up until the end of this year. And then up until August of next year will be that 3%. So it's a little bit better than what we talked about in the standing committee there. So what we're recommending is that council consider the following motion. That council extend the current contract with Prairie Bus Lines for the provision of transit operations and maintenance. It's base service span 1, so that's what we've been doing the whole time, Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., I believe. Operating on weekdays for a total of 3,389 service hours for a maximum yearly cost of $228,500. $228,527 for the remainder of 2025 and until August 31st, 2026. And with that, I'll open up for any questions.
Councillor Pell.
Thank you. Through the chair to the director. I'm just curious, do we know what percentage of time over the last, say, calendar year that the contractor vehicle has been used instead of the town-owned vehicle?
I don't have the exact percentage, but I know it's been going up quite a bit. Like I know I would say it's probably around maybe 30% that we've been using the unmarked bus versus our Bolt van.
Okay. And so then our discussions or whatever future budget discussions regarding like, replacement or upgrade of that vehicle might even find us some cost savings.
Potentially from last year.
Yeah.
Ideally, I'd like to try to get a newer bus, maybe a little bit more capacity.
Mhm.
But with that would come obviously an additional cost above that $90,000. But maybe
Right.
potentially with partnership with the city of Lacombe, that cost might be less. Or maybe there's a way we can utilize some of their fleet as well too. But essentially, we'd have a new van is what I'm kind of thinking about, and then we would use the old one as our backup one. So kind of a flip flop of what we're doing right
Mhm.
now. So
Yeah.
but yeah, that's potentially an additional 30% of hours that. And it's also 30% additional
Of
costs
cost.
that we're looking at spending each year. But it does end up ending up being still around that $230,000 a year, roughly, depending on how much money we're making. I did notice that we're starting to get a little bit more of an uptake on revenue side, so that's
Mhm.
positive as well too.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think it's important to recognize the fact that the Prairie Bus Lines does have the ability to supplement with that replacement bus, and another reason why the extension of this contract for the next year would be important. If we were just simply to have our own drivers, we would have some difficulty maintaining this level of service. Any other questions before we consider this motion? Seeing none. Councillor Schwab.
I'll move that council extend the current contract with Prairie Bus Lines Ltd. for the provision of public transit operations and maintenance. Base service span 1 operating on weekdays for a total of 3,389 service hours for a maximum yearly cost of $228,527.20 for the remainder of 2025 and until August 31st, 2026.
Thank you. Debate or discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to 6.6, request for decision for the Regional Collaboration Committee.
Thank you. Council, discussion has been ongoing between Lacombe County and the City of Lacombe in regards to a tri-party collaboration committee. At the standing committee last week, I did bring forward a draft terms of reference for this tri-party collaboration committee, which the name of the committee is going to be the North Blind Man River Tri-Municipal Collaborative. And council did ask that this be brought forward to this meeting here this evening for council's consideration and adoption of this terms of reference. Any questions on this report?
Seeing none, would you have the motion? Councillor Appel.
Thank you. I'm happy to move that Town Council approve the terms of reference for the North Blyman River Tri-Municipal Collaborative and consider appointments at the organizational meeting of council following the municipal general election.
Another long acronym to get used to. I see.
Yeah.
Thank you. All in favor? That's approved. Thank you. Unanimous. And moving on to item 6.7, being the council remuneration review report.
Thank you. As council's aware, I've been working with a council remuneration committee consisting of 4 residents of the town of Blackfalds. And as per the policy, the actual report was supposed to come to council by the first meeting in August. We did not have a couple of we did have one meeting canceled due to some of the information that we found in the report and just some of the differences in the financial reporting of other municipalities. The committee had wanted some additional information from financial services. So with that said, we were not able to meet that deadline to have this report in front of council. So The recommendation is that we are asking for a one-time variance to the council remuneration and compensation policy to allow this report to come forward later than what it sets out in the policy. We are expecting to have this meeting presented to council on September 9th.
Questions? Well, since we're past that date, I guess we don't have a lot of option but
That's correct.
to consider that variance.
Yeah.
Councillor Schwab?
I do have a question for Appendix A 2.2 on the mayor and councillor remuneration monthly. On the package that's available for the people running for council, the dollar value per year is more than the monthly value. So the monthly value for mayor, I believe, was $4,980 per month. But if you take the $62,796 and divide that by 12, it's $5,233 per month. And then the
Okay.
councillor part, they on the council package is $29,872, which is not going to work out to the $2369 per month. It's $2489 per month. So there's
Right.
that little bit of.
So what happened there is this policy was adopted in 21. So it
Okay,
doesn't
it's
factor in the cost of living increases that would have been added on to these base salaries.
Well, I was looking at the dates at the bottom and I'm like, well, it says 2025. So I'm like, what happened here?
Yeah, because we did amend this policy, just not those rates. We
Okay.
amended this policy just recently to factor in the process that we would be doing for this review.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. So we're looking for the motion for that variance. Councillor Schwab?
I'll move that council authorizes a one-time variance to the council remuneration and compensation policy to allow for the 2025 report to be presented to council no later than the first meeting in September.
Thank you. Debater discussion. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. And item 6.8, request for decision on bylaw 1342.25 being the municipal election sign bylaw.
Thank you. This municipal election sign bylaw was amended to remove any reference to provincial or federal signage due to changes to legislation that the province passed, where it's basically restricts municipalities from regulating any type of election signage. So this new bylaw speaks to only municipal elections, and I am looking for council to give 3 readings to this bylaw. You did look at this bylaw at last week's standing committee meeting.
Questions, comments? Sure, there was good discussion on this. Deputy Mayor Coulter.
If there's no questions or comments, I'm ready to move. That council give first reading to bylaw 1342.25 municipal election sign bylaw as presented.
Thank you. Debater discussion. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. Councillor Schwab.
I'll move that council give second reading to bylaw 1342.25 municipal election sign bylaw as presented.
Thank you. Debater discussion. All in favor? Also unanimous. Councillor Sands.
I'll move the council give unanimous consent to move to third reading of bylaw 1342.25 municipal election sign bylaw.
Debater discussion. All in favor? You have unanimous consent to move to third and final reading. Sorry, you got Councillor Dennis. Would you like to make third reading?
I'll move that council give third reading to bylaw 1342.25 municipal election sign bylaw as presented.
Thank you. Debater discussion. All in favor? And that does pass unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to item 6.9 being the request for decision for the Penhold Fall Festival Parade.
Thank you, Council. So the town of Penhold is hosting its annual Penhold Fall Festival Parade on Saturday, September 6, 2025, starting at 11 a.m. On July 31st, invitation was received from Mayor and/or Council to attend the Penhold Fall Festival Parade. Funds are allocated annually for parade candy and the use of the town's golf cart float. And with that, the administrative recommendation is that Council designate a dignitary to attend the Penhold Fall Festival Parade on Saturday, September 6, 2025.
Thank you. Anyone interested in that? Councillor Sands?
I'm not sure if anybody's interested, but if not, I'll certainly step in again and represent Blackfalds and Penhold.
You have a 1 kilometer run with the
You want-
mayor?
Oh,
No, I'm going to say that, if
Oh.
you really want to go, you can do that 1 kilometer run as well while you're there.
oh yeah, no, I don't think I'm gonna do that.
No?
No. No,
Fair
I
enough.
usually bomb them around a little bit so he can,
Yeah.
pick out the good floats and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I've been to that one in the past. It's nice. And I'm not available, so happy if you're interested. So someone like to make the motion that Councillor Sands attends? Deputy Mayor Coulter.
I'll move that Councillor Sands attends the Penhold Fall Festival Parade on September 6, 2025.
Thank you. Debate or discussion? All in favor? And that does pass unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no notices of motions. We do have a confidential item, so I will, do we need a bio break? So I'll move us into a bio break at 8:42 for 5 minutes.